Welcome to the Cohn Zone. Grant Cohn, Lowell Cohn here with you for the next hour. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan spoke today. First press conference of the season. You watched it, Dad. What was your main takeaway?
Okay, let me just do a little stuff and then I'll talk about. I was watching at home on my computer. I could not hear the questions. I don't know why they didn't pass around a microphone. So that was a little hard. And I felt that Shanahan for a long time was sitting back and not near the microphone. And some of his answers were not entirely clear to me. Still, I think I got the gist of it. I don't know if other people had that experience as well. My first would be a question to you, Grant. A lot of the reporters asked about Jimmy. Of course, I mean, that's an amazingly big topic. And what I got from Lynch is that he's there on the premises, but he won't participate in workouts because he has a protocol with his throwing arm that they don't want to rush him back. I believe that's true. Do you believe that's the deep down truth of why he's not participating?
No, I don't. And I think it's funny that you're leading it off like this because I just want to give you credit. You know, I was down there an hour before it started and I called you up and I said, it's about to start. And you said, I want you to know, this hasn't even started. They're going to say that Jimmy Garoppolo isn't going to practice. They're going to say that. Here's the reason why. So you predicted it an hour before it happened. John Lynch casually said it and he said, it's just all protocol. It's financial.
Of course.
It's financial. If he gets hurt in practice, that $27 million that's not guaranteed right now becomes guaranteed. That's something that would really probably keep Kyle and John up at night. They'd have to answer to not just Jed, but John and Denise. That wouldn't be good.
Right. So let's be real clear about this. What Lynch said is true. There is a protocol for people coming back throwing. But the deep down reason that Jimmy will never, ever participate in any preseason training camp is because if he stubs his toe or gets a hangnail or hurts himself at all, they are on the hook for $27 million. Cannot do it. So what Lynch said was accurate, but very limited. And the real deep down reason that guy will never, ever get on those fields in Santa Clara is it's too costly and they can't risk it. Do you agree?
Absolutely. And I just think it's interesting that they kind of played past it today. Oh, he's just working out. And like, what about when he's cleared in a week? They're just going to keep, he's going through some things. But if a team trades for him, he's ready.
That's right. If a team trades for him, he's ready.
Instantly. So, what else are they supposed to say? But that was the big news today, that even if they want to keep this guy on the roster for another 2 months as they search for a trade, he's not going to be working out with them at all.
No, he's going to be on the sideline like you.
Yeah. I don't even know why they need him in the locker room. I mean, they really should just bring him out at 7 a.m. and then 7 p.m. and be like, you know what, go get a hamburger, go hang out at Great America. But you don't need to be here. You're not on the team.
I agree. Yeah. But of course, look, I'm not faulting Shanahan and Lynch for what they did. I would have done the same thing, but people need to know that is not nearly the real story or the whole story.
Yeah. The whole story is that the Niners are trying to avoid paying Jimmy Garoppolo $27 million, which bodes well for you in the bet that we have going on. I said that Jimmy's going to be on this team week 1. That would mean that they're going to pay him $27 million. Yeah. So this is looking good for you and that $50 bottle of wine, because we got multiple bets out there right now.
Okay, but there's a bet I'm not looking good on.
Okay, let's talk about that. The Deebo deadline. Deebo Samuel has not been extended yet, his contract. He needs to report to camp tomorrow. That seems kind of like a deadline. Will he practice without an extension? Will he get an extension? Now, John did say, deadlines sort of tend to spur action. So it seems like he's anticipating maybe something to happen tomorrow. If not, things get kind of weird.
But listen, let's be clear on what the bet is.
Yes.
Because you skipped over that.
I did.
The bet is, we bet a bottle of wine as usual. And the bet, I said, he will sign his extension before the first practice tomorrow. And Iggy said no. Frankly, I'm looking like I'm in pretty bad shape right now. But it ain't over till a fat lady sings.
Yeah.
So this bet is on the line. Iggy, do you still feel he will not sign before the workout?
It's starting to seem like he's not. He went from requesting a trade to showing up to everything. So it doesn't seem like he doesn't seem like he's holding a hard line. I wonder if the Niners are saying, "Look, you need to wait. We got to get rid of Jimmy first. Can you wait a week?" That may be how I win this bet. Is if Jimmy is holding everything up and the Niners are willing to wait an extra week or so, and they tell Deebo, "Look, you don't have to practice, but we can't give you this extension until Jimmy leaves. You got to bear with us." I think that's my only way I win this. Because as John said, we do these things right at the deadline. The deadline's tomorrow. He seemed pretty upbeat, confident for a guy. I mean, it seemed like he was like, give us a chance. We're probably going to sign him this week. It's kind of his attitude.
Okay, let me ask you this. If they don't sign him by the first practice tomorrow, will he participate?
I would be shocked.
Me too.
I would be shocked. It would be a bad move. I don't think his agent should let him do that.
Especially if he gets hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what we got is Jimmy not participating and Deebo on the cusp, unclear if he's going to participate.
I got a question for you. I'm going to go through some players. You tell me if you think they're going to participate in training camp and how much. George Kittle.
Cameo appearances.
I don't think there are 7 tight ends on the roster. And I was thinking that's a lot of tight ends. Why are there 7? Because he's not going to do anything. Because he's basically going to be giving up, hey, nice route, good catch, good block. And the other 6 guys are going to do everything because he's George Kittle. I get that. So, yeah, George probably not going to do much.
I'd say occasionally he'll make an appearance.
Also, 2 more guys.
Well, hold on. I'm not done with Kittle. But he'll be good. He'll be great at the podium.
Oh, today he comes out and he's like, "What's up, guys? How's it go?" And he asks a question: who would win in a fight, a grizzly bear or a silverback gorilla? These are the things that George Kittle thinks about.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe he has time to think about it because he's not really practicing that much.
Yeah. 2 more guys who I'm not going to quiz you. We learned about today. Mike McGlinchey and Javon Kinlaw. They're both similar in the sense that they're coming off major surgeries, like Nick Bosa last year.
Yeah.
And it seemed like what Lynch was saying is we're going to treat those 2 like we treated Bosa like that last year. Like they're cleared and they'll be out here, but we're not just going to say, go get them and do everything. So I wonder how much pass rushing one-on-one drills Javon will do. Same for Mike McGlinchey. Maybe they won't do much, which will be interesting.
My guess is they won't do much. I think it's fair not to risk hurting them. I think
the right move.
It's a smart move. It's fair to the team and it's fair to the players. And I want to tell you, Iggy, in both cases, Kinlaw and McGlinchey, I hope they make it back.
Me too.
I hope they make it back.
Me too. The thing with Bosa last year was he's a machine, and his brother's in the league. His dad was in the league. He knows how to be prepared, and he was already a really good player. Curious to see what McGlinchey can do, what Kinlaw can do, because those guys weren't necessarily elite before they got hurt like Bosa was. They were good before they got hurt. So we'll see. Justin Lonker says, Lynch said Jimmy was having his physical after the press conference this afternoon. Design or just priority of players where he fell? I don't know. Probably by design. But I wonder if we'll find out some news about Jimmy today. I didn't get the sense that they were going to cut Jimmy Garoppolo from what they were talking about.
I didn't get the sense they were going to cut him. I think he'll probably pass the physical and he'll never be on the field for the 49ers again. It's almost irrelevant what happens in the physical.
Right. They're just waiting for a team to want to trade for him. I don't know how long that wait will take.
You know, Iggy, I know you have more players that you want to say, will they participate? Iggy, I want to tell you how low Jimmy's status is. As far as I understand it, and got to tell you, I haven't followed the offseason that much. The Steelers needed a quarterback. They got Trubisky.
Yes.
Now, he's nobody. Trubisky's nobody.
Yeah.
Apparently, they thought he was better than Jimmy.
I think he's better than Jimmy.
Oh, okay.
I think they made the right call. He's younger. He can move. He has a strong arm. He'll throw downfield. I mean, He doesn't have Jimmy's win-loss record, but he hasn't played for Kyle Shanahan or Bill Belichick. I like Mitchell.
Iggy, he's not a great quarterback.
No, but they made the right call.
Yeah,
cheaper, younger, better. Yeah. Yep.
So he's not even at the Trubisky level.
No, and everyone's talking like he's. Hey, say what you want. He's not perfect, but he's like the 15th best quarterback in the league. If that were true, someone would have traded for him by now.
There are certain national media people who pump up Jimmy that he's really good.
Yes, all the time.
I got to tell you, they're entitled to their opinion. My impression is they're not at the facility much.
Right.
So unless they have X-ray vision, I don't know how. But if you're not at the Trubisky level, and look, Cleveland needs a quarterback because their guy is going to be the league's going to bench him for maybe half the season. Cleveland didn't even want him.
No, they want Jacoby Brissett. New Orleans, they don't have a quarterback. Drew Brees retired. They're going with Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Washington would rather have Carson Wentz.
Oh, I would rather have Carson Wentz.
Atlanta would rather have Marcus Mariota. What a slap in the face.
Well, what it is, you know what, Iggy? It's a reality test.
Reality check.
It tells you what the league thinks of Jimmy.
Absolutely. Sean Heaney says, hey, Grant, did you hear Colin Cowherd and Mike Silver come out and try to walk back some of what they said about Trey? Hilarious. You keep it real. I didn't actually listen to their latest one.
What did they say about Trey in the first place?
Well, in the first place, they were saying that the Niners are have deep misgivings about him and that they're really concerned and that he's really inaccurate and that his arm is not that strong and it gets tired. And I guess they walked some of that back. Doesn't seem like anyone on the Niners are saying that.
What I got from the press conference today was they just anointed Trey Lance as their starting quarterback. They said we've moved away from Jimmy. So for a team that thinks he gets a tired arm and isn't that good, they just went all in with him. So something's wrong somewhere in the reporting.
Good point. And I asked Kyle directly today about the arm fatigue, and I said, "Is that accurate?" And he said, "Yeah, it happened one time." So yeah, it happened one time. It happens to every quarterback. I don't understand. I mean, how is this a story? This could be a story for every quarterback ever. And what's his face? Stafford down in LA, arm fatigue, pitch count right now. So,
I believe Kyle when he says every quarterback goes through arm fatigue. Iggy, in the spring training, every pitcher goes through it.
Absolutely.
Throwers go through it. And one time in the middle of a season, I used to talk to Bochy a lot. And I said, your starting pitchers, do they all have an arm problem? He said, Lowell, every single one of them. By this time of the year, they're all hurting. But they're professionals. They pitch.
Yeah. And what Kyle was saying about Trey is that this was essentially last year. And that, think about it, he hadn't played football in a year. He was a rookie. He probably wasn't in great arm. His arm fitness probably wasn't top notch. He was probably like a pitcher in February, just getting to spring training, to your point.
Yeah.
A little new. Anyway, so we were talking about the Deebo deadline. Let's talk about the key question leading into the season. Dad, what is the key question leading into the season?
Okay. And this is important. My teacher used to say, pay attention. This is important. There is only one key question. And the key question is, do the 49ers have a quarterback? That's the question about the team. Now, I want, Iggy, first of all, do you agree?
Respectfully, well, yes and no. Yes and no.
Okay, let me hear.
Go ahead.
No,
To me, I just have so much. I know he's a quarterback. He's important. He's young. He's unproven. I've seen him practice a lot. I have much more confidence that he's an upgrade over Jimmy Garoppolo than the offensive line being good enough. My question is the offensive line terrible? I don't know. That's my question. But they're both questions, honestly.
Okay, I'm going to say something. Your thing about the offensive line may be equally important to the quarterback, but it's not as sexy. Fair enough?
True. That's true.
I'm going to go with
Let's stick with the sexy topic first.
I'm going to do the sexy topic.
Go sexy.
Because the quarterback is really important. And what you want to say is we're going into the season with Steve Young. Mm-hmm. We're going in with Brett Favre, okay? Mm-hmm. Here's who the Niners are going in with. A complete unknown.
Yep.
They don't know about him. Kyle doesn't know about him in spite of what Kyle says.
That's true.
The kid doesn't know about himself. And we don't know about him. Iggy, at this point, he is a question mark.
Mhm.
And if fans are angry at me, I'm sorry. I'm not rooting. I'm telling you what I see. Trey Lance could turn into a superstar. Mahomes. He could be sort of an average quarterback like Jimmy, or he could be a bust. I'm not saying that he'll be any of those three, but we don't know. And we'll know somewhere in the season, probably in the first 3 or 4 games. Right
True.
now, and all through training camp, we're going to know Jack. That's what we're going to know.
And I think that's why this season, in a sense, to me, is feels like the most eagerly anticipated season ever, or at least in my professional lifetime. No one knows what Trey Lance is going to look like, including him, including his coaches, his teammates. They've seen him in practice, but that's not the same thing. And he's going from like junior varsity college football to the NFL. Remember when Derek Carr was young? And he's a very talented quarterback, but he went from Fresno State, bigger school than North Dakota State. Wasn't the book on him that he would be a little jittery early in game because he just wasn't used to the NFL stage? It was a big deal for him. He had to settle down.
And he was a little jittery.
Kyle Juszczyk said today about Trey, like his first start against Houston, that was a must-win game. He was a little jittery. He was a little not so great early on, and then when he finally got the touchdown, he said that he could hear Trey talking to himself in the end zone, saying, "I needed to get that one off my back. I needed to get that."
I love it.
Yeah,
I love Juszczyk.
So,
if I were covering the team, boy, would I want to know him.
Oh, he's the best because he constantly answering questions about other people with insight, and he's generous about it.
Nice. And he also pays attention.
Yes, he does. Yes,
he could be a writer, Iggy.
He could be, absolutely, no question.
So look,
hold on. Let's stick with the key question. To me, if this is the only question the Niners face, they're in store for a very good year, because I've seen this kid play. And I know it's possible that he'll be one thing in practice and it's a mirage and he'll be a total failure in games, but I don't know. I mean, it seems to me that wasn't Jimmy. Jimmy was actually better in games. He was awful in practices and he would somehow do better in games. I think just based on he's a competitor. We'll see if this kid is too. I don't know.
Okay, let me ask you this. I said that's the biggest question. And we can get to the offensive line. In your gut, how do you think Trey will perform this coming season? I.e., how good will he be?
I think he'll throw for 26, 27 touchdowns. I think he'll throw like maybe 10, 11 picks. I think his stats are going to be really good. I think he's going to be really good. I don't think he's going to be a Pro Bowler necessarily. But remember what Russell Wilson looked like when he was young? They ran the ball a lot, but he would give you big plays. I think it's going to be like that. I think he's going to be mature. I don't think he's going to be turning the ball over a lot. I think he's going to be handing off a lot, running a lot. But when he does throw, there's going to be a lot of big plays, and it's going to be exciting. I think he's going to be really good. I think he's going to be better than Alex Smith, better than Colin Kaepernick. I think he's going to be really good. And I think he's got a really good team around him. Just question, like, he's not replacing a Pro Bowl quarterback. He's replacing a game manager. The left guard's replacing – they had a Pro Bowl left guard last year. He's gone. They had a Pro Bowl center last year. He's gone. McGlinchey's coming back off a serious injury. Those are huge question marks. Are the Niners downgrading massively in 3 spots? I don't think they're downgrading at quarterback. I really feel that the Jimmy Garoppolo level is like – that's a very – if that's a hurdle, you could just walk over it. I'm sorry.
No, I love what I love what you're saying, and I think part of what you're saying is if he's as good, Trey Lance, as you think he's going to be, the Niners not only will succeed, but they'll be fun to watch.
Yes, absolutely. And also, if he's just as good as Jimmy, they're a good team. If he's better than Jimmy, which I argue is a low bar, they could be a Super Bowl contender. As long as their offensive line isn't awful. You don't have to have a great offensive line, but if it's awful, all it takes is one hit and Trey Lance is out. I mean, we saw that with Steve Young when he played. He got hit a lot. He got concussions. Saying, we saw with Andrew Luck, he didn't make it to 30. So it's important, but I still think the Niners have shown they can get at least solid offensive linemen. If the offensive line is solid and this guy is as good as I think he is, then this team could win a lot of games. They do have a very difficult schedule. They got to play all those AFC West teams. It's tough. We'll see.
You know, listening to the presser today, I got the feeling from both of them that although the offensive line is not currently set. They feel they have talent at every position. That's what I got. Do you
Yeah.
agree with that?
Well, they always say that on the first day of training camp, right? I would
Yeah.
think. But yeah, I think also they're feeling maybe we could make another move. We'll give these guys a shot, and if they don't work out, there's always a trade you could make, especially if they eventually get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. If eventually they could do stuff.
If they get rid of Jimmy, they have more money.
Yeah, I would think, yeah, that's the equation. That's why we're so surprised that he's still here. But there's time.
So Iggy, McGlinchey, he's still rehabbing. Would you consider him the number one option at right tackle?
Yeah. If it's not him, it's like someone who started fewer than 8 games, excuse me. Fewer. But hold on, let's come back to the key question of the season. So I've seen Trey Lance. I said they should draft him. Maybe I'm biased. Maybe I'm too close to it. Just from far away, like, do you feel like, how confident are you that the Niners have the answer to this question?
Of Trey?
If they have a quarterback this year.
I don't think they know. I'm entirely now. Here's what you have to say. You have seen Trey Lance throw a lot. I haven't. So really, my opinion is not as weighty as yours, Iggy. But my opinion is they don't have the slightest idea, and they won't know maybe for the first 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
So in that regard, we're disagreeing.
Yeah.
Can the
Again, my impression of Trey Lance is that he's like a super Alex Smith. His mentality is like Alex Smith. He's earnest. He works very hard. He's going to improve. He's going to be honest about his weaknesses and work on them forever. He's not like Jimmy. What I didn't like about Jimmy and Colin was their complacency. Like, Jimmy was constantly smiling. Colin was constantly defensive about, needing to work on XYZ. And I felt like they didn't improve. Alex Smith did improve. And I think Trey Lance will improve. But the difference between them is that Alex Smith, while he was a good athlete, Trey Lance is a great athlete. Alex Smith was a decent downfield thrower. I think Trey Lance is going to be a hell of a downfield thrower with a really strong arm. So that doesn't mean he'll be a Hall of Fame. It doesn't mean he'll be Steve Young. But if he's a super Alex Smith, that's a good quarterback. It's better than Jimmy.
Iggy, another issue with Alex Smith, and we ought to say this, and maybe you can address this with Trey. Alex was too cautious.
Yes.
A coach once said to me, the question with Alex Smith isn't can he throw it, it's will he throw it? Will he throw it? And Iggy, you saw a lot of times he had open receivers and ate the ball.
Yes. And, Steve Young was talking about Trey Lance recently, and he said one of the things, he's a perfectionist, and sometimes that can, too much of any good thing can be a bad thing. And he didn't name Alex Smith specifically. He mentioned Carson Wentz and Mitchell Trubisky, but that was Alex Smith. He was a perfectionist to a fault, had to be perfect. And I guess that's what Steve Young thinks of Trey right now. Is like, don't be Alex Smith, because I wasn't. And the one thing, if you like Jimmy G, is that he has no conscience. He'll throw a pick, doesn't care, come right back. I mean, he's not a perfectionist at all.
No, and that's one of his best qualities.
It is one of his best qualities. I think he goes a little too far with it sometimes.
Okay.
But yes, it is one of his best qualities. Ivan says it got a little awkward when Kyle and John were asked if they still wanted to back up with the same style as their starter. Yeah, it was funny. Scott Osler asked that question. I felt like he was trying to act like he was gonna follow up with, "Why don't you sign Colin Kaepernick?" But he didn't. And what Kyle said, which he's very smart. He said, "Yeah, if I had a quarterback who I want to design, a running offense around, then yes. But I don't look at Trey that way. I don't look at Trey as a running quarterback. I look at Trey as a quarterback who can use his legs if the first and second option aren't open." So that was illuminating. That's how I look at him too.
I didn't know that Scott asked that question because I couldn't hear the questions.
Oh, well, he did. Guaranteed Colin Cowherd doubles down on Lance. Apparently a little, I think this is true. Trey Lance was dating Colin Cowherd's daughter before the draft. So there may be some backstory here. I don't know. Hard to say.
Iggy, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Who's Colin Cowherd?
Oh, he's one of these guys. He talks about sports. He doesn't go to the games per se, but he has a really strong take about all the teams and all the sports in the country, which is remarkable. He knows them all very well, apparently.
Okay, so that's who he is?
Yeah. He's one of these guys who talks about sports. All right. That's who he is.
Okay. I'll have to check him out sometime.
Oh, he's really, he's
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Okay. Jason Verrett, the Niners going to place him on the PUP list.
Explain what the PUP list is.
It means that it's the physically unable to perform list. It means that he has an injury that he suffered in an NFL practice or game from the previous year, and he's not ready to perform yet. So the question is, what does the future hold for Jason Verrett?
Okay, before we get to that,
yeah,
can you be taken off that PUP list anytime, or do you have to miss a certain amount of games?
No, you can. Oh, that's a good question. I think you might have to miss like 6 games. I think you might have to miss about 6 games if you're on that when the season starts.
So he's already may miss some games.
Yes.
Okay.
No, but he could be on the PUP. They can take. Let me explain. They can take him off the PUP list at any time before the season starts. But if he's on the PUP list when the season starts, I think he has to be on there for at least 6 games.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's conditional right now.
He is conditional.
Okay. Here's my feeling about him. When he is well, Iggy, he's one hell of a player.
Oh,
you'd agree?
Yeah, 2 years ago, he was, I thought, their best player on defense. They lost Nick Bosa, and they had a top 5 defense. It was the year that got Robert Saleh a head coaching gig. He did it without Nick Bosa, and he did it with Jason Verrett. Jason Verrett was the best corner they've had since Deion Sanders. He's that good.
Okay. So what I believe is the Niners will give him every break and every opportunity because they realize his potential value and they're keeping their fingers crossed. But I don't feel they're necessarily confident. They're in a hopeful stage as opposed to a confident stage. What do you think?
Yeah, hopeful, and also it seems patient. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they're thinking, you know what? If he comes back for the playoffs, great. But maybe we'll get him next year, which is so, I mean, it's amazing that a team would be that loyal to a player or at least that patient because he's a 31-year-old cornerback who's, I think he's torn his ACL multiple times. He's done his Achilles. I mean, he's had every catastrophic injury you can imagine. And really, just if you don't know who he is, you'd think 31-year-old corner with all that stuff, there's like he's got a 1% chance of coming back and being effective. And the Niners are like, nah, Jason, he's special. He's special. So we're gonna work with him. And I think that's really cool. It seems like, I don't know, like John Lynch's personality, his imprint on the team. I know this guy. He's a championship competitor. We're gonna work with him. He's special.
Yeah. Iggy, it's not a question of loyalty. It's a question of they see his value.
Belief, yeah.
Belief. They see his value. And also, I haven't met Verrett. I would imagine he's extremely mentally strong to go through this yet again and to keep trying.
I think that's why they keep him around. They've seen him do it before, and they think he can do it again.
Iggy, have you ever talked to him?
I have talked to him before.
What's he like?
Now, I haven't talked to him in the locker room because he got here during the pandemic, but when he talks in a press conference, he's intense. He answers your questions thoughtfully, but very slowly, and he talks really close into the microphone, and he doesn't seem to have a sense of humor or express it. It's very intense, which I kind of think is cool.
I love it. And I love people who talk into the microphone because as I get older, my hearing fades. So I'm always going like this. So I would appreciate it. Ham, why'd you say? I would appreciate that.
Yeah, he's really good. Am I like blurry right now?
Yes.
Hold on. Let me reload real quick. You're the star of the show. I'll be back in 10 seconds.
Okay. What do I do?
Just talk about what you did last night.
What did I do last night? I had been out of town, and I came back on Sunday, and Iggy and Swasey had me over.
Okay, I'm back.
I'm saying what I did last night.
Okay, go ahead.
I went over for dinner, and they made wonderful pasta sauce, and that was Sunday night, and I brought a bottle of Italian red. And then last night I was tired, and I ordered in Chinese food from down the hill, and I watched a few innings of the Giants game, but except for the sport that Iggy covers, because Iggy covers it, I got bored with the Giants game and left after about 4 innings and read.
They're boring.
Well, they're a 500 team.
Niners for Life 1982 says it was changed to 4 games for the PUP list. Thank you. I should know that.
4 games. Thank you. Thanks for the help.
All right. If you want to know anything, if you want us to talk about any other topic from today's press conference, let us know in the chat. But for now, we want to talk about something that's related to the Niners because it's an NFC West team. I think it's kind of amusing. The Kyler Murray homework clause. You may have heard of the sanity clause. He's got a homework clause in his contract. If you didn't hear, they gave him $230 million. I think $160 million guaranteed. But he has to do 4 hours of independent study every week where he watches film of the opponent. I thought all quarterbacks were doing that. What do you think of this?
Iggy, 4 hours a week or a day?
I don't know. I thought it was a week. Hold on. Let me see. Kyler Murray.
A week?
Homework. Let me find out. Four hours each week. 4 hours a week.
Okay, I want to talk. I want to talk about this first.
Okay.
And then we'll get into Kyler Murray. I thought it was 4 hours a day. You know, when I first started and Joe Montana came in, now they read the playbook on their tablet or their computer. Yeah. They used to have a loose leaf binder. It was red and it was a thick mother. It was really thick. Joe was always studying it. He's probably studied it 4 hours a day. But who was he? He was just Joe Montana.
Right.
Iggy, whenever I go up to Rockland for their training camp, Joe always walked around carrying the loose leaf binder. It was like an appendage to his arm. Yeah. So the idea that they have to sort of beg or bribe or threaten this kid to study 4 hours a week is pathetic. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's pathetic. I mean,
you got to come louder.
I think it is pathetic. It doesn't speak well for Kyler Murray, but it also doesn't speak well for the Cardinals. It's like it's a real FU from him to them. He doesn't respect them at all. He doesn't respect their coach, their organization. Maybe if he was on he's really young. He's like 25. Maybe he would learn to be that player for another coach, but it doesn't seem like they're the right fit for him and for them to go into business with him anyway, but to try to make this some kind of clause, like it seems like a really weak attempt to take control of a situation they've lost control of.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
What I would say, and we chatted about it earlier today, shame on the Arizona Cardinals. Shame on them. They never should have extended him. They should have said, we think your study habits stink. We're not going to extend you. Show us that you're committed to us, then we'll be committed to you in a year from now. That's what I would have done, Iggy.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the Ravens are doing with Lamar. It's not about his study habits. They just have questions about him, and they have the 5th-year option. He was under their contractual control for 5 years. Same with Kyler Murray there. Like, why are you so scared? Why are you so quick to give him an extension when you clearly have questions about him? And this is how you handle it? It just seems like the weakest thing ever. You'd be better off trading him if you don't believe in him, or at least waiting.
That's what I think. And Iggy, he's a good quarterback. Would you call him elite, or would you say he's a big-time winner?
He hasn't proven that yet. What he's shown, he's been in the league 3 years, and he's shown that on his best day, he's as good as any quarterback in the league, but he's inconsistent and young, and he hasn't done anything in the playoffs yet. Nothing.
And Iggy, he sometimes doesn't see open receivers.
Yeah, because he's like 5'7".
Got
he's
it.
Really quick though. I mean, he's an excellent athlete, and I mean, him not prepared is probably better than like Jimmy Garoppolo prepared. But still, like, this is embarrassing. And again, your point is, if you actually have an issue with the way Kyler Murray does his work, don't reward him, because they rewarded him. What they did was reward him, but then say, but you better do your homework. Like, no, you just gave me $230 million. I'm not going to do my homework.
I'm with you. I'm not going to. Now, look, there's a theory going around, but I want to be clear. We are not reporting this as fact. This is just a fun theory that may or not be true, but it's too good not to talk about. Right, Iggy?
Yes.
What, that video game thing?
Yes.
So you have to phrase it all in hypotheticals and allegedlys.
Well, the thing that's so funny about this whole story is that it's not just that he has to watch the film. It's that he has to, because they can monitor that. It's in an iPad. They watch how long you've been in the iPad. They can time it. They timed it for Colin Kaepernick and Blaine Gabbert. But it's like, you can't have the TV on when you're watching. You can't be playing video games when you're watching the film. Like, how would you know? And how could you even enforce that? And what other things is he doing when he has his iPad open?
What other things is he allegedly doing?
Yeah, allegedly. Could he be doing?
That's right. You got to be very careful, Iggy.
Yeah, you too, Dad. He could be painting an accent wall in his man cave.
He could be learning to do the rumba.
He could be ordering pieces of furniture for his new place. And when you order it through the mail, you have to put it together yourself. It takes a lot of time.
He could be reading through the Encyclopedia Britannica from A to Z, and maybe he's on LMNOP.
He could be learning how to speak Russian.
He could be playing video games.
He could be hunting.
Hunting.
He could be gardening. He might have a green thumb.
He could be baking.
He could be baking. Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
But the point is, when you get paid $160 million guaranteed, you probably ought to be studying the playbook. Clearly, there's some doubt on the part of those idiot Cardinals. I would insist, how about 2 hours a day, 7 days a week?
I just don't understand how you give $230 million to a player you have to insist something like this for.
Yeah.
And to me, why I like Trey Lance and why Kyle Shanahan likes him and why they went into business with him is they don't have these questions with him.
Right.
He's got the Alex Smith temperament. He wants to do the work. He likes the work. He likes football. I guess Kyler Murray's attitude is like, yeah, I like football, but I also like baseball and video games and all kind of stuff. And I'm great at everything. Like, Trey's into football. That's good.
Iggy, rank the starting quarterbacks in the NFC West.
Matthew Stafford, Kyler Murray, Trey Lance, Drew Lock. Kyler Murray's really good. I'm just saying. He's really good. I don't care. He's hella good.
He's really good.
Yes. He's 5'8", so you don't really think of him as being an amazing athlete, but he's probably one of the best athletes I've ever seen in my entire life. He was a top 10 pick in 2 sports. How many people have ever been that? Ever? He'd be a really good baseball player right now if he played that sport. I'm just saying. He's like Bo Jackson, but 5'7".
I was going to say Bo Jackson.
Yeah, he's the Bo Jackson. He's the mini version of Bo Jackson.
The mini Bo.
What you talking about? Willis says they're going to pull a Jamarcus Russell and not put any plays or teams on his touchpad. Did you hear that story?
No.
They gave Jamarcus Russell a tape and they're like, we want you to watch this. This is like the blitz packages from the upcoming opponent. You got to watch this. And it was a blank tape.
And why did they give him up?
To test him. They thought he wasn't watching. It was before iPad. So they gave him a blank tape. They said it was something and he didn't watch it, came back and they're like, all right, what'd you think? And he was like, oh yeah, saw all the blitz packages. I saw what you meant. And they're like, so apparently that's what they did to him.
Whoa.
Yeah. Interesting. Sorry, Jamarcus. There was one more. Hold on. Why should Kyler even study 4 hours per week if he is just going to be running from Bosa? I get it. Says Steven.
Well, he does play other teams.
That's a good point.
He doesn't play the Niners 17 times.
Am I still blurry?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I guess it's because I got to get a stronger connection. This is really chapping my hide. It chaps my hide, Dad.
You look a little blurry to me.
I'm sorry. I'll figure it out.
It could be that I'm old.
No, it's on me. It's me. It's my first day back in my office, and I guess my Wi-Fi's across I got to figure out a better connection. But sorry about that.
But before, when we did it, you weren't blurry.
I don't know what's going on. Maybe I got to restart it. I'm doing a speed test over here. It says I got it ample.
Anyway, don't worry about it now because we're almost done. Don't worry about it now.
Yeah, well, I'll figure it out. I think we are done. I don't think we got nothing else to talk about. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Not really. What I do want to say is, and this is sincere, although I don't really cover sports anymore, I'm very excited that training camp is starting because it means the football season is starting. And that's a big deal. And Iggy, I want you to know sincerely, I'm very interested each day in your videos, your reports, and the good and the not so good. Because I know it sounds like Lowell's plugging his kid. Of course I am. But I learn from those good and not so goods. Because I've been there. You really take serious notes. You don't talk to any other reporters. You're on your own. You're taking serious notes. And I see that. And I learn from what you do.
Thanks, Dad. I appreciate it. This is a big time of the year for me. I take it very seriously, and I hope I deliver this year the way I think I have in the past.
I'm sure you will.
Thanks, Dad. All right, well, we'll do this again next week.
Well, depending on what the schedule is. You know what I mean? You're going to have a workout next Tuesday. We'll see. We'll work it out.
We'll work it out. Well, it was good to see you, though. I'm sure I'll see you before then.
I hope so. I'm going to see you Friday night for sure.
That's right.
I love you, Grant.
Love you too, Dad. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for putting up with the blurry stuff. I'll fix it for next time. See you.